How you doing, everyone? This is Kevin. I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be doing a video on changing a light switch. And this is basically changing a light switch for beginners. There's a lot of people out there that may have a light switch that they need to change and are scared to change it because they don't know what they're doing. So today I'm going to go step by step on how to change a light switch in your house. Okay, the parts you're going to need is you're going to need a light switch. You're going to need a light switch that you're going to replace your old one with. You're going to need a screwdriver. This one here is one of them screwdrivers that you can pull this out, switch it over to Phillips, or flip it over and put it to a flathead. So we got a Phillips and a flathead screwdriver there. Pair of needle nose pliers. You may or you may not need these. I'm not sure until we get into it, but this is I would have them on hand. You're going to need an electrical tester. You're going to need something to test for electricity. And not only one, but you're going to need two. And the reason why I use two is because these are mechanical. Something could go wrong. So we don't want to trust just one. We want to have two. And an optional flashlight, especially if the light you're using is supposed to be giving you the light that you need to change the switch with. Okay, this is the light switch that I need to change. This is the light that it's working. Now, it works, it does work, but when I was flipping it, one time it wouldn't come on, and then another time it would come on and go off, and I would wiggle the switch a little bit, and I could see the light flickering. So this is a switch that I want to have changed in my house. If it's flickering, it probably means that it has a bad switch in it. Now, I went over my light and checked my light out to make sure nothing was wrong with it. So I came back to the switch and we're going to change it today. And the first thing that you want to do is turn the breaker off to this switch. So I'm going to show you how you're going to do this. Okay, in this step you're going to have to locate your breaker box. And a breaker box is just a box that looks like this. It's going to have a whole bunch of different breakers inside of it. And you can see them right here. Okay? So now, once you've located your breaker box, this is what you're going to have to do. Now, this may be a two-person job here, especially if your breaker box is like mine and none of the breakers are marked. So I don't know which breaker this light is on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the person helping me, which is going to be you guys today. Let me know when that light goes out. I'm going to go in there and keep switching breakers off until I come to the one that turns this light off. And then you're going to scream in there and tell me, okay, it's off. So keep an eye on that light right there for me. Okay, just holler when that light goes out. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. That was a lot of help. I had this process done earlier. My wife actually watched the light, and I went in there, turned the breakers off. So it happens that it's actually the very first breaker in the box. So we're going to mark that breaker now, that breaker goes to that light. Okay, this is not the one that we're going to change. This is not the switch we're going to change, either of these. This step here is what I want you to do is take your tester, and I want you to check it. Turn your tester on and make sure that the tester is working. So we know this tester is working. Now, I could get into some details on the testers for you, but right now we're just changing the light switch. And then we're going to take this tester and I'm going to stick it in here and I'm going to test it too, just to make sure it's working. So we want to make sure that the light is coming on our tester. So we got light. So both of our testers are working, so now we can start our job. Now, as you can see on this switch, we have two switches. So whether you have one or two, this same process will work. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these screws out of the plate that's covering up our switches. Now, if this had a single switch in it, it would only have 2 bolts holding that back on there. now that we got our cover off, what we're going to do now is we're going to check this thing for power. And the reason why I still check it for power, even though I know the light is off, I actually changed the switch one time, seen the light go off, and there was still power in here. So far, no power with that one. And we're going to find the hot over here, and we're going to put this on our ground, and we're going to check both sides of that switch and both sides of this switch. So now we know we have no power in this box. So now we can get to working on it. Now the switch that we want to work on, we're going to take the top bolt out right here and the bottom bolt right here. So we'll go ahead and get these guys out of here. Okay, now we're just going to pull that light switch out just like that. You're going to have 3 wires on this switch. You have 2 over here and you have 1 over here. Now, one of these is a power wire, and one of these goes to your light. And all this does is put your power on and off. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we put these wires back on the same way they came off. So if you take your top one out, I might be able to give you guys some more light here. Huh, that's better. Let's take our top one out. Now this is where the pliers may come into hand. If you need a pair of pliers to pull these out with. Sometimes they can be a little tough. So what you want to do, just take your pliers and you want to pull back on them, push your switch in and get that hook off. Now, being that one was on the top, I'm going to push it up to the top and then I'll pull the other one off the bottom and push it to the bottom. I can see this one was just wrapped around it, so we'll get our pliers and pull this off. I hope you guys can see that all okay. So we got our top wire up here and our bottom wire down here. So this wire here is going to be the feed for actually both of these switches. Now on the other side of this switch we have a green wire, or just a copper wire going into a green bolt here, and that's our ground. So basically the same thing. Got to get it unhooked from in there. You might need a pair of pliers to get it unhooked. Maybe not. Maybe so. Okay, old switch. Get her out of the way. Now that I'm in here, I see a wire nut right here. I'm going to make sure that wire nut is good and tight too. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to bring our switch back in here. And we're going to do this. We're going to hook the other one back up. Okay, make sure you're off. The word on your switch is pointing up. And your on is on the bottom. So if you notice, these have a gold colored bolt on them. These normally will always go to the black wire. Normally. Just depending on how one person wired it up. So that's why you always check with a tester. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook our bottom wire back up and get it tightened up. Sometimes these guys can be a little tight in there. And we're going to take our top wire and hook it up. Make sure you snug these up pretty good too. Tighten our top wire up. good and snugged up. Then we're going to turn it over and we're going to put the green one on, which is going to be the copper colored wire. And I always put my hook on my wire the same way as if you was going to tighten it. So if you're righty-tighty, you want to twist your hook to the right and get it tightened up. Okay, now that you got them all tightened up, you want to push your wire back in there. Make sure it's all nice and tight. You're not going to hurt your wires. And start tightening up. Screw this one in, the top one, just a little bit. Then line your bottom one up. Push it in. Now you can start tightening up your box. You want to try to keep your screws in the center of the slot. There's a slot right there. This could be moved back and forth. You want to try to keep them in the center. Now all we have to do is mount our box plate back on here. Put our screws back in. These don't have to be super tight. You just want to snug them up. Okay. Now the last thing we have to do is go in there in that breaker box and turn that light back on. Turn the power back onto the light. Now all the power is back in the switch. All we have to do is turn it on. And as you can see, it lit up the room and the light came back on.
Well, just how simple was that? That was a pretty simple process. I think anybody that can actually turn a screwdriver can change a light switch. Just follow the simple steps that I put on the video, and I don't think you'll have a problem changing a light switch in your house. I'd like to tell everybody thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave me thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment if you'd like. Make sure you click the little bell down there so you'll get them alerts when I post another video. Till next time.